Did you know that in 1781, 142 enslaved Africans were thrown overboard from a British slave ship simply to claim insurance money?
Being part of the British diaspora, we can't believe we've never heard of this before or been taught it in school. Actually, we can believe it.
On the 18th of August 1781, the British slave ship Zong set sail from Accra, carrying 442 enslaved Africans.
The Zong was owned by the William Grayson Slave Trading Syndicate from Liverpool. They had insured the lives of the enslaved Africans as cargo.
However, after a series of navigational errors, the ship ran low on drinking water. On the 29th of November, the crew began throwing enslaved Africans overboard. First, 54 women and children were thrown through cabin windows into the sea.
2 days later, on the 1st of December, 42 male enslaved people were thrown overboard, followed by 36 more in the following days. Then another 10 enslaved people, in defiance of their captors' inhumanity, chose to jump into the sea.
And in total, 142 enslaved Africans were killed before the ship reached Jamaica.
When the ship arrived in Jamaica on the 22nd of December 1781, with just 208 survivors, the owners filed for insurance claim for the lost cargo. However, the insurers refused to pay, accusing them of fraud and questioning the story that the ship had run out of water.
The story of the Zong massacre became public knowledge through figures like Olada Akuyano, a freeman, who brought the atrocity to the attention of the anti-slavery campaigner Granville Sharp. Sharp tried to have the crew prosecuted for murder, but justice was never served and none of the perpetrators were held accountable.
The massacre ignited the abolitionist movement. It exposed the brutal realities of the transatlantic slave trade to the public. Campaigners used the event to fuel the fight for the abolition of the slave trade.
Today, institutions like the Walker Art Gallery in Liverpool are finally acknowledging this part of history, a piece of British history that should be widely known.
It's about time more institutions and schools in the UK follow their lead, confronting the true cost of colonialism and honouring the victims of the Zong massacre and the transatlantic slave trade.
What's up guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel once again. My name is Dash Lifestyle. Kindly for watching me for the first time, remember to subscribe, like, share and also comment. So guys, in today's video, I want us to watch this video from our Caribbean black professor. He has come out and revealed our black history, the history that the white people that have been hiding towards black people in the Caribbean and also African people. And also our Caribbean black professor, he's revealing some of the things that the white people, they did to us black people during slavery. We black people, we know we went through a lot of things. And also our professor, he's asking the Western people, the colonizers, to pay their black reparations. So kindly guys, watch this video till the end, then I'll be back with more comment.
And black people outside of Africa are of the opinion that they were sold by their own. We now have to destroy that myth because it is really a very divisive myth that the Europeans have imposed upon us. To defend themselves in an age of moral outrage, the slave owners said this: don't blame us. We tell the chiefs, we want 200 of your people, and the chiefs sell them to us and we take them. So don't blame us, we haven't committed any crime. They were saying that the Africans were their business partners. Now, the archives tell us something else. The documents in the archives speak about an age of terror in which Europeans, highly armed with the latest military technology, the guns and the cannons, a militarized culture arriving in West Africa and unleashing terror across the West African space. And these are small African governments confronting the strongest military complex the world has ever seen. So they want you to imagine a gunman coming into your house and said, listen, we're going to rape your wife or we're going to rape your daughter. You choose. Are we going to rape one of them? It's your decision. If you don't choose, we will rape them both. And the history will say, well, you might just sell out your daughter. The history is written from the gunman's perspective. Now, write that story from the wife's perspective, from the daughter's perspective. Because what the story will show is that after the man made a decision, he went mad. He now is psychologically destroyed. The wife is destroyed. The daughter will never survive it. And here is a family that is now broken, shattered, psychologically unfit to live. Write that history. The archives are filled with the information to rewrite that story. And that's not what we're now doing. We are now rewriting 300 years of Eurocentric interpretation of what happened in West Africa. What happened? What really happened? There are always corrupt people in every space. And the same way there are corrupt people now who allow those drugs to come in, there were corrupt people also in Africa who victimized their own people for personal gain. But they were always in a minority.
African nations didn't sell their own people. They were selling people of other African nations, just like Europeans had been doing, selling people of other European nations. Because guess what? Africa is a continent with many, many, many different nations on it. So let's not forget the geography lessons that we got when we were 8 or 10. Okay?
Hi, it's Quainey here with another hidden history. Now, in my last video, I made a video about Britain and America, especially Mississippi, how much money they made from selling cotton from the labor of African slaves. And some of the comments came back saying, yeah, but Africans sold Africans, Africans sold their brothers. This is a misconception that I would like to explain in this video. Now, Africa is a continent, just like Europe is a continent. When we speak about Europe, we speak about the separate nations of Europe. We speak about England, Scotland, Wales, Ireland, Spain, Portugal, Italy, Germany, France. It's separate nations. When we speak about Africa, we speak about Africa as if it's one country. Africa was never one country. It's just like Europe, it was separate nations. But we don't know the names of those nations. We know the European names of what they are now, but originally they were separate nations like the Igbo, the Ashanti, the Dahomey, the Zulu, the Kushites, the Egyptians, Nubians, all these different names. Now, just like in Europe, let's talk about England, yeah? The first country that England subjugated was Ireland, right? So when England took over Ireland, and we talk about the history between England and Ireland, which has been very bad for the Irish, we don't talk about the English people selling or killing their Irish brothers or sisters. We talk about the English and the Irish. Same with when Spain and England were going to war over the seas in the 16th century. And let's say a Spanish galley took an English ship, they would take the English sailors as prisoners and make them slaves on the Spanish galley. Or when the English were fighting the French. So we have lots of battles going on in Europe when the English, during the Second World War, Germany and England were very closely linked historically. Many Germanic tribes are the tribes that made up England. But we don't talk about the English fighting their German brothers. But when it comes to Africa, we lump Africa as one country. An Ethiopian does not look like a Nigerian. Okay? Africa is not one country. It's just like Europe. It was many different nations. And when those nations went to war, whoever won took the others' peoples into slavery. So when the slave trade started, many, let's say the Ashanti, were attacking their neighbouring countries, just like England were attacking Ireland, and they were taking, let's say, Igbo and selling the Igbo to the English, the Ashanti. So that's separate people. They were not brothers and sisters. Or when Egypt and Kush, the kingdom of Kush, the Nubians were fighting, when whoever won the battle, they would take their enemies into slavery. They were not brothers and sisters. This is a misconception. It is a lie. So Africa is no different from Europe. The only difference is we lump Africa into one country when it never was. Just like Europe was never one country. That is a fact.
Did you know that the price of a slave in the 1800s was equivalent to the price of a brand new car today? The African slave trade was one of the most brutal and dehumanizing practices in human history. For over 4 centuries, millions of Africans were forcibly taken from their homes and transported across the Atlantic Ocean to be sold as property in the Americas. I mean, can you imagine selling a human being like they're just a piece of furniture? It's like going to IKEA and picking up a new couch, but instead you're buying a person. It's ridiculous. However, the fight for abolition was a pivotal moment in history as people from all backgrounds united to end this inhumane practice. As we look back on this dark chapter in history, Let's use it as a reminder of the power of collective action in the face of injustice. Let's continue to stand up against all forms of modern-day slavery and oppression.
Is that when the slave owners receive their £20 million in 1834, which was valued at 40% of the government expenditure for that year, that money was invested in the British economy, in the railway industry, in industrial development, and the slave compensation money reinvested in the British economy placed the British economy in a booming condition, and Britain had 50 years of economic growth as a result of that money. 50 years of growth stimulated by the compensation money, the reparation money which the slave owners got, and plowed back into the British economy. So, here in the Caribbean, the islands were descending into poverty after emancipation. And in Britain, 50 years of growth because the compensation money was reinvested back into the British economy and stimulated the economic development of the country. And what did the slave owners do? They raped the treasury. They said 40% of the British national expenditure for that year was paid over to the slave owners. £20 million. In other words, I want you to imagine 40% of a country's expenditure taken and handed over to the same parliamentarians who were the owners of the slaves. Take it from the treasury and give it to themselves. They then take it from the treasury and then reinvested it in their own industries to stimulate industrial development. And remember that chattel slavery of the African people was also genocide. This is not highlighted sufficiently. If you take my home island of Barbados in the Caribbean, the British brought 600,000 people into Barbados. 600,000 Africans were brought into Barbados. The black population of Barbados today is 280,000. How do you reduce 600,000 to 290,000 after 200 years? They brought 3 million into Jamaica. At the end of the slavery malarkey, there were just about 600,000. The survival rate of African people in the Caribbean was about 17%. It was horrendous. When Britain gave Jamaica its independence in 1962, 80% of the black folks in Jamaica were illiterate. And this is after 300 years of extracting wealth from Jamaica, the richest colony in their history. The colony that gave them the global push into Asia and everywhere else. Jamaica, the land where the Prime Minister's ancestors made their fortune. 80% of the people were left, and they were told to go and develop. I spent 6 years as a student in the Faculty of Economics. I have seen or heard of no economic model, no economic paradigm that will enable a society with 80% illiteracy to develop. The people of Jamaica, nonetheless, have done very well to convert that mess they have inherited from the British government into a sustainable nation state, and they must be congratulated. All of the Caribbean societies inheriting this mess went to work in an act of self-help to carve nations out of this mess. My island where I was born, Barbados, is very proud of its democratic culture. But this was the first slave society in the modern world. The first society in the Americas where African peoples outnumbered Europeans, Barbados. And now we celebrate Barbados as a center of democracy and freedom, because the formerly enslaved people took it upon themselves to build that tradition, to turn slavery on its head and create societies based on freedom and justice. This is our achievement. This is the achievement of people who had been enslaved, to turn history around and point the world in the right direction.
So guys, I hope you have watched that video and you have listened to our black professor, our Caribbean black professor, coming out and revealing some of the things that the colonizers they have been doing to our black countries in the Caribbean. And also our Caribbean professor, he's asking the reparation, the colonizers, the Western country, to pay the Caribbeans their reparation, because for a very long time the Caribbean countries, they've been asking the reparation, and for now it is a must that these people they should pay the black countries, the countries in the Caribbean, Jamaica, the Haitian people. These people, they need to pay the black reparation. Not only the countries in the Caribbean, also they need to pay reparation to African country because of what some of the things that these people they have. Up to now, we are still having some of our families, they are having a memory of what happened to their ancestor, of what happened to their forefathers. We are still having the family which they are having the scars of slavery. So this all this pain, it could be eased by these people to pay the slavery reparation. But for so many years, these people, they have been denying to pay the black reparation. Why is it these people, they don't want to pay the black reparation? This is to tell you that these people right now thinks it is going to change. These people, they will come and respect us black people, because right now we have seen our black professors, they are coming out and educate us black people, and they are telling us black people to know our history, because we black people, majority of us black people, we don't know our history. Because in the schools, these people, they usually teach us about the white history, how these people, they came in Africa, how these people, they conquered Africa, how these people, they enslaved our brothers and sisters. So those are the kind of the history that we are learning in our school here in Africa or any other black countries. So this is to tell you that there is a lot of history that these people, they have been hiding towards us black people, and it is the right time of us black people to start introducing our black history in our school. Yeah, we need to learn our black history. We need to abolish the white history in our school. And if we black people, we can start learning our history, there's some more things that we black people, we need to know that these people, they have been hiding. You have seen those videos of how these people, some of the things that these people, they did to us. These people, they enslave a lot of us black people. These people, they reduced, I don't want to use the bad terms on YouTube. These people, they reduced majority of the black people during slavery. And these people, they were saying that it is your ancestor. They were selling you, it is the ancestor, your black leaders during the time of the colonization, whereby these people, they have been coming out and saying, we are not, we Western people, we the colonizers, we are not the people who catch you guys. Your ancestors, they are the ones who sold you to us. So these are the kind of the things that these people, they are saying. Your colonization, you are during the colonization, your leaders, your ancestors, they are the ones who were capturing you and selling you to us guys. So we are not the ones who were catching you and force you to come in their Western country. So these are the kind of games that these people, they are telling us black people, and yet we know our ancestors, they didn't participate in catching us black people. The history that we are learning, it is these people, the white people, who they came and wrote that history to confuse us black people, because they want us black people to start blaming our ancestor. Yeah, for so many years, majority of the black people, they know, our black people in the Caribbean, the black Americans, they know that these people, our leaders during the colonization period, they are the ones who sold them to the colonizers. Those are the things that these people, they always know. But coming out slowly, we are now starting to learn our black history. Our leaders back then, they didn't do that. So this thing, it was written by the white people to confuse you, so that you guys, black Americans and the black people in the Caribbean, you cannot unite with us black people here in Africa. So for me, I can tell you that it is now the right time for us black people to start learning our history. We need to introduce our history to our school, so that we can know exactly what happened during slavery, how these people they treated us during slavery, and up to now these people they are still treating us bad. We have seen how the black Americans they are being treated in United States. Yeah, we have seen they are being given less opportunity. After these people they build United States, these people they are being given less opportunity. These people they are being treated very bad. Yeah, these people they are treating very bad. So this is tell you that these people they are still oppressing black people, and there is a time that we black people we will revolutionize ourselves, and these people they will start respect us black people. Those are some of the things that these people they did to our black people. We have seen what happened during in Jamaica. You have seen the numbers of the black people who they were reduced by the Western people. So this is tell you that these people they don't love black people. These people they don't they can't appreciate black people effort. Even if the black Americans that the ones who helped them to build their country, they can't appreciate us black people. They always see black people as a trash people, and that's why I always call black people to come together and unite, because revolution it has started. Yeah, revolution it has started, and we black people we need to come together. We need to unite so that these people can start respecting us black people. So kindly guys, I don't want to talk too much. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video because when you like this video, according to the YouTube algorithm, it will spread this video to a lot of people, and it is good for us black people to know our history. Let's learn our history. Our leaders they need to abolish the white history that we are learning in our black countries. We are always teaching our children about the white history. We need to introduce the black history in school, and also we need to pressure these colonizers, this Western country, to pay black reparation, because these people they are having they need to pay for the damage that they did to us black people, and also they need to return some of our treasures things that they stole from here in Africa. Apart from paying our reparation, they need to return the stolen treasury things that they stole in our Caribbean country and also in our black countries here in Africa. So that by doing that, these people we need to pressure them so that these people can do what it is right to us black people. So thank you so much. Subscribe if you haven't. Like this video, share, and also comment. See you on my next one. Bye bye.